All of the neighbors came out and they started saying the same thing. What happened? Why is there no power? What's going on? And as we headed further and further into the neighborhood, we realized that there was no power in the entire city. Everything was turned off in the stores. There was no traffic lights. Everything was completely shut down. It was very bizarre, and it was also very frightening. And this was a time before cell phones, before social media, before the rise of technology. We had to rely on analog TV. But of course, our main TV didn't work because the power was shut down. So my dad had a portable analog TV that had an antenna, and this particular analog portable TV relied on battery use. So we turned on that TV, and the news spread that there was no power in the city. It was a problem that was happening in the Northeast. A couple of states were affected by this, including Canada. This was a serious problem. I remember that we went into the 99-cent store and started stocking up on everything that we needed, including batteries, flashlights, candles, any necessary items that we needed to survive that day. And keep in mind that there were no fans, no air conditioners, absolutely nothing. We had to rely on other means. My aunt also stayed the night in our apartment complex because she had nowhere else to go because there were no subways, there were no cars, and on top of it all, it was still summer and it was scorching hot. We stocked up on supplies, we stayed in our home. I remember that my mom made dinner that day. It was very, very dark inside that kitchen. I really hated that kitchen because we had a rodent and cockroach infestation problem and we were scared that insects and rats were gonna be in our food. It was very uncomfortable to eat in the darkness, but we did what we had to do to survive. And we decided to entertain ourselves by telling stories and talking, and we were also relying on that portable analog TV that my dad had to check out the recent news about what was going on. And this portable TV also had radio, so we also relied on that. Luckily for us, we were in our house, but other people in the city who were in Manhattan were stuck because there were no subways and there were no cars and they couldn't get to anywhere else. So they literally had to stay there, or they had to cross the bridges, and that was worse. For everybody else who was stuck in the city, they had to sleep on the streets. It was really uncomfortable and it was scary. And I also felt sorry for the people that were stuck on the subways. That was pretty bad too. I remember being in my bedroom with my sister and I just couldn't sleep. It was about 100 degrees that night and there was no air conditioners. There was no fans. There was no way to cool ourselves down except drinking water, and we had to rely on candles. I couldn't see anything in my bedroom. It was completely dark. And because we couldn't sleep that night, what we did was we prayed that the power would come back. We did not want this to last more than a day. And I stayed up until 5 a.m. in the morning until I fell asleep. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning and suddenly the power came back. And it was like a huge sigh of relief because I was like, oh my goodness. Electricity, I love you. I rely on you so much because modern society relies on electricity. Without it, where would we be? What do we do?